classification of renal tumors. Next is major renal cell carcinomas, genetic and molecular basis, its pathogenesis. We will also know the gross and microscopic pathology, discuss its clinical features, and understand the progression and metastatic spread. So to begin with, we have renal tumors, but here in this case of renal tumors, the most common type of renal tumors are the malignant ones. Okay, in this, the benign type of renal tumors are relatively rare, but the malignant ones are the majority. And renal cell carcinoma among them accounts for majority of the cases, that is 80 to 85% of the primary renal malignancies are belongs to renal cell carcinoma. And its incidence, peak incidence is at between 60 to 70 years, and males are most commonly affected than the females. The incidence in males is twice that of females. Okay. So, renal cell carcinoma were also earlier known by this following names, that is adenocarcinoma of the kidney. Another name earlier was given as hypernephroma. Another was gravidstima. These were earlier used. Now it is called renal cell carcinoma. We have three major types of renal cell carcinomas, and these renal cell carcinomas are the most common type of renal tumors. It is derived from the renal tubular epithelium. Okay. What are the parts of kidney? Parts of nephron? Glomerulus, then Bowman's capsule, proximal and distal convoluted tubule, along with Henle's loop of Henle, and next collecting duct. So it arises from this renal tubular epithelium. Okay, the proximal and distal parts. So these neoplasms represent the 80 to 85%, that is the majority of the primary malignant neoplasms of the kidney, and these are common in between 6 to 7 decades, and males are most commonly affected. And this has a special appearance. In grossly, these tumors are yellow in appearance because they have high lipid content. For that, they will be yellow in color. And another characteristic of these tumors is to invade the renal veins. They metastasize by invading the renal veins. Okay. So this is a gross specimen of kidney, and here there is the tumor. Okay. Mostly these are well circumscribed tumors, yellowish in colors, and this is a renal vein. This tumor is invading the renal veins, and this part is a normal kidney. Usually these tumors are located in one or in upper or the lower poles of the kidney. This is the upper pole of the kidney, and this renal tumor is found in the upper pole of the kidney. So the clinical features, it has a classical triad. This renal cell carcinoma presents with a classical triad, that is flank pain, hematuria, and palpable abdominal mass. When there is your long question, if you find these three things, you have to think of renal cell carcinoma. Okay, this is a classical triad. First, among this, the most common and the earliest symptom is hematuria. Next, along with, there will be flank pain and palpable abdominal mass. Okay, we have to remember this triad, and along with other symptoms can be there, that is related to renal cell carcinoma also has paraneoplastic syndromes. For that, there will be polycythemia, hypertension, and along with other features of any tumor that we find, that is the weight loss, fever, malaise that can be associated with it. So mostly these renal cell carcinomas are two types. One is sporadic, another is hereditary. Sporadic means these are not inherited. It occurs without any genetic predisposition, and most cases are sporadic, but it can be associated with other familial syndromes. These are rare, that is consist of 4% of RCCs which are inherited. These are multifocal. More than one tumor will be found, and often they are bilateral. In both kidneys they will occur, and they occurs at a younger age than the sporadic ones. These are the some familial syndromes which are associated with this hereditary uh, renal cell carcinomas. One important is this von Hippel-Lindau syndrome or the VHL syndrome. Okay, this is a important syndrome which leads to clear cell carcinoma. And another is hereditary papillary carcinoma. This leads to papillary renal cell carcinoma. Another syndrome is Bart-Hirsch-Dube syndrome or the BHD syndrome, which leads to chromophobe carcinoma. We will come to this carcinomas one by one. So this is the classification of renal cell carcinoma, renal cell tumors. One is a benign, another is a malignant. In the starting of the class, we have told that malignant tumors are the majority. But some of the benign tumors are also seen, that is renal adenoma and oncocytoma, and another is angiomyolipoma. Okay, these are not few of the benign tumors, and the malignant ones are the most common, that is the renal cell carcinomas. First is a clear cell carcinoma, papillary carcinoma, and chromophobe carcinoma. You have to remember these three names by heart. Okay, the most common among this is a clear cell, followed by papillary, followed by chromophobe. And next comes few of this are the collecting the carcinoma and renal medullary carcinoma. These three occurs in the cortex of the kidney. And among the others, there is Wilms tumor, which occurs in children. Hello, malignant main tumors for no? What are the common malignant tumors of kidney? Renal cell carcinoma, and three important types: clear cell, papillary, and chromophobe. Okay, and the few benign tumors, important ones are the oncocytoma and angiomyolipoma. These two are the benign ones that you need to remember. And another, this Wilms tumor or the nephroblastoma, which occurs in childhood. And coming to the risk factors and etiology, first the risk factors are divided into environmental factors, occupational factors, and acquired cystic diseases. So coming to the environmental factors, most common is smoking. This is a most important modifiable risk factors. It doubles the risk of renal cell carcinomas. Next comes the obesity, which is the important cause of renal cell carcinoma in women. And another important is hypertension. So three important risk factors are smoking, obesity, and hypertension. And next comes our occupational exposure, among which important one is the cadmium exposure. Cadmium exposure leads to RCCs, and another is the acquired cystic disease, which occurs in case of long-term dialysis patients, which will be leads to acquired polycystic kidney disease, and this is another cause that will lead to RCCs. So these are the genetic syndromes which are associated with RCCs. First, we have already discussed, that is the von Hippel-Lindau syndrome or the VHL syndrome. This occurs due to germline VHL mutation. This is a gene which is located, VHL gene which is located in chromosome 3p. Okay, this leads to clear cell carcinoma. Next is our hereditary papillary RCCs. This occurs due to MET proto-oncogene. Okay, and this will lead to papillary RCC. Another is a Bart-Hirsch-Dube syndrome or the BH, it occurs due to BHD gene, and this leads to chromophobe RCC. So for every type of RCC, we have three familial associations. First is a VHL for clear cell, hereditary papillary for the papillary RCC, and next is BHD syndrome for the chromophobe RCCs. And that long-term dialysis ones, this also leads to papillary carcinoma. Okay. And next, another is the tuberous sclerosis. This leads to a benign tumor, that is angiomyolipoma. These are the important genetic syndromes. These can come in your MCQs. Okay. So this is a molecular pathogenesis. For most important is for clear cell carcinoma, that is the chromosome P, 3P, that is VHL gene, will be lost or inactivated. That will lead to accumulation of HIF or the hypoxia inducible factors, which will lead to increased transcription of various growth factors, which will lead to angiogenesis, cell proliferation, and ultimately tumor growth. So for here, this is a clear cell carcinoma and this is papillary carcinoma. In case of clear cell carcinoma, there is mutation of VHL gene and that will lead to cell growth and stimulation of angiogenesis and lead to tumor progression. And in case of papillary carcinoma, there is mutation in c-MET and also can occur trisomies in 7, 16 and 17. It will lead to papillary carcinoma. So comes our clear cell carcinoma. This is the most common type. Most common RCCs that comprises of 65% of all renal tumors. This clear cell carcinoma is due to which gene? Clear cell carcinoma occurs due to, this is the inactivation or loss of VHL gene that is present on the chromosome 3P. This is a molecular hallmark for clear cell carcinomas. And this leads to this loss or mutation of VHL gene leads to stimulation of cell growth and stimulation of angiogenesis and ultimately tumor formation. This most 95% of these cases are sporadic and some other familial forms which are found in association with the VHL disease or the VHL syndrome. And this has origin in the proximal tubular epithelium. Right. This is a gross image of clear cell carcinomas. Clear cell carcinomas are large, solitary, that is, it will be large and single. Okay, well circumscribed and it will have a yellow-orange appearance. It will be yellowish in color due to presence of lipids in it. It is a fat-containing tumor. That is why it will have a yellow appearance. This is a kidney, and in the upper pole of the kidney, in the cortex, we see this is a well circumscribed tumor having a yellowish appearance, and it is called as variegated appearance because they have different areas which are due to the presence of hemorrhage, necrosis and cystic degeneration. Therefore, this is not a uniform smooth tumor. It will have various areas of hemorrhage, necrosis and cystic degeneration. So, characteristic is this is yellow in color with variegated card surface. Variegated means it will have different areas, not uniform, that is different areas of hemorrhage, necrosis and cystic degeneration. So important thing is this is yellow color and this is large and solitary. Okay. So this is a microscopy of clear cell carcinoma. This is clear cell because the cells are containing the lipids, fat cells, and when they are processed by xylene, they will be removed. The fat cells are removed, and when these are seen in microscopy, these are the clear cells we find. These are the clearings. The fat is removed from the cells and that's why they appear clear. Okay, these are the large polygonal cells which have a central nucleus and abundant cytoplasm and a well-defined cell membranes. And these are separated by fine fibrovascular stromas. This is a microscopy picture which is similarly shown each other cells, neoplastic cells which have clear cytoplasm and central located nucleus, and they have a differentiated cell membrane. This is again a similar picture. These are the tumor cells having clear cytoplasm, central nucleus, and these cells are separated by thin fibrous septa, fibrovascular septa. Now coming to papillary carcinoma. Papillary renal cell tumors are the second most common tumors of the after clear cell carcinomas. They comprises of 10 to 15% of all renal tumors, and they are called papillary because they have characteristic papillary growth pattern. What do you mean by a papilla? Papilla is a finger-like process, and microscopically it will have a fibrovascular core. This is a papilla. This has a core lined by epithelium. Okay. These are finger-like processes which are lined by epithelium and has a fibrovascular core. These are the papillary structures. So in case of papillary renal cell tumors, there will be papillary growth pattern along with the genetics will be MET activation, that is on chromosome 7q, and there will be trisomy of 7 and 17. And they can originate from both proximal and distal convoluted tubules. And these are multifocal and bilateral, unlike the clear cell carcinomas which are solid and single. Solitary and unilateral, but in case of papillary they are bilateral and multifocal. Multiple tumors will be found, and these are the most common renal cell tumors which are found in association with dialysis. The long-term dialysis patients will have cystic diseases which will lead to papillary carcinomas. This is a pathology of papillary renal cell carcinomas. First is there will be bilateral and multiple. This will be well circumscribed and also have similar cystic and hemorrhagic areas. But on microscopy, there will be, here we will not find the clear cells like the clear cell carcinomas. These cells will be cuboidal to columnar with eosinophilic to clear cell. Not all cells will be clear, mostly they will be eosinophilic and have most importantly, there is papillary architecture, fibrovascular cores and foamy macrophages. These are the foamy macrophages inside the papillas. And there will be presence of Samoma bodies. Can anyone tell what is a Samoma body? Have you ever heard of Samoma body? Yeah, it's a form of dystrophic calcification and it can be found in many other tumors. Example? Any other example where we find this Samoma body? One important tumor is papillary thyroid carcinoma. Okay. Also found in case of papillary renal cell carcinomas. So this is a concentric area of dystrophic calcification which will look like onion skin appearance. And this prognosis is better than clear cell carcinoma. So these are the papillas with a core and lined by tumor cells and filled with foamy histiocytes or the macrophages. These are the pale eosinophilic cytoplasm, unlike the clear cytoplasm we saw in case of clear cell carcinomas. So next is our chromophobe carcinoma or the third type. This is a third most common least common among the RCCs. They represent 5% of renal cell carcinomas and they originate from the intercalated cells of the collecting ducts. The clear cell and the papillaries originate from the proximal and distal convoluted tubules, but these originate from intercalated cells of the collecting ducts. And this is the genetics of this chromophobe RCC is from multiple chromosome losses, which leads to extreme hypodiploidy. Because of loss in multiple chromosomes, there will be loss in chromosome numbers. The pathology of chromophobe RCC, it will look on microscopy like plant cells. On gross, this is tan brown, unlike the yellow appearance of the clear cell carcinomas. This will be well circumscribed and they will have pale eosinophilic and pale granular cytoplasm. So coming to our chromophobe carcinomas, these are tan brown in color, unlike the clear cell carcinomas which are yellowish in color, and on microscopy we find these are pale eosinophilic cytoplasm which has granular cytoplasm. Pale eosinophilic and granular cytoplasm, these are arranged in solid sheets. In case of clear cell carcinomas, these are arranged in nests. These are the nests. Okay. These are arranged in nets, and these have a papillary pattern of growth, and in case of chromophore this is arranged in sheets. There is no pattern. Okay, these are arranged in uniform sheets. The cells look like plant cells which have well defined cell membranes and granular cytoplasm, and have well well central nucleus with perinuclear halos. This is a chromophobe carcinoma with granular cytoplasm, and these are the nucleus with perinuclear halos. There will be space around this nucleus. Okay, these are the perinuclear halos around the nucleus, and these will be arranged in solid sheets. Now next comes our collecting duct or the Bellini duct carcinoma. This is very rare, that is among leads to 1% of the renal cell carcinomas. They arise from the medullary collecting duct and occurs in the medullary regions. The RCCs occur in cortex, but this is a Bellini duct carcinoma which occurs from the medullary duct, arises from medullary duct, and this consists of malignant cells which have a similar pattern of medullary carcinoma. These two carcinomas we have in which originate in the medullary region. One is this collecting duct carcinoma and another is medullary carcinoma. These are rare, not so important, just know the names which originate from medullary duct collecting ducts. And medullary carcinoma is found in case of sickle cell trait. And next we have two benign tumors. One is renal oncocytoma and another is angiomyolipoma. This oncocytoma is a benign tumor which originates from the intercalated disc of the collecting ducts, and they have a central stellate scar. In the center of this tumor we have a stellate or the star-shaped scar which are found in case of oncocytoma. They have a eosinophilic granular cytoplasm and multiple mitochondria which causes this granular cytoplasm, and they mimic RCC radiologically, but on microscopy we can differentiate with from the benign ones. And another is angiomyolipoma. This is also a benign entity. Angiom means vessel, myom means muscle, and lipoma means fat. So this tumor will consist of three parts. One is the blood vessels, smooth muscles, and fat. That is why it is called as angiomyolipoma. And this is just know this association, that is with tuberous sclerosis. And next comes our Wilms tumor, or this is a pediatric tumor, most common pediatric renal tumor which occurs in the age between 2 to 5 years and less than 10 years. And most commonly these are sporadic and unilateral, but in case of Wilms it can be associated with WT1 gene, and that can be familial, and it presents with abdominal pain and microscopic hematuria in children aged between 2 to 5 years of age. And on microscopy we have small round blue cells. This is a Wilms tumor and in the case of a child. And next comes our important topic, that is the paraneoplastic syndromes. These paraneoplastic syndromes are associated with RCCs which are due to the release of various ectopic hormones. Okay, first is ectopic hormone production, like erythropoietin will lead to polycythemia or the increased RBCs in the blood. And there will be, due to parathormone related peptide, we will have hypercalcemia. Due to renin, there will be hypertension. And due to ACTH production, there will be Cushing syndrome. And there will be also a increase in ESR. Okay, and in hepatic dysfunction, there is due to IL-6 disease. Due to IL-6 release, there will be hepatic dysfunction. So the important ones we have to remember is polycythemia, hypercalcemia, hypertension, and Cushing syndrome. Polycythemia is due to erythropoietin, hypercalcemia due to parathormone related peptide, hypertension due to renin, and Cushing syndrome due to ACTH. To ectopic production of various hormones via neoplastic cells of a tumor. And here in case of RCCs, these paraneoplastic syndromes are very common. Okay, the most important ones are the important syndromes is polycythemia due to erythropoietin release. Next is hypercalcemia due to parathormone related peptide release. Next comes our hypertension due to renin release, and next is Cushing syndrome due to ACTH production. So routes of spread, this RCC can spread by various routes. One is direct or the local spread. It will be occurs through the fascia of Gerota or the perinephric fat and the adrenal tissues. It will be locally spread to the adjacent tissues, that is the perinephric fat and adrenal glands. And by lymphatics, it can spread to various lymph nodes. And by hematogenous spread, this is the most characteristic spread which will lead to spread in distant organs. Among this, the most common metastatic site is our lungs. In lungs, there will be cannonball-like appearance spread, metastatic spread, and this will next is after lungs. This is a bones. Next is liver, adrenal, and brain. Now, the prognostic factors, the best prognosis among the RCCs are the chromophobe RCCs, but the clear cell RCCs have an worse prognosis, and this collecting the carcinoma and medullary carcinoma also have worse prognosis, but the excellent prognosis is of chromophobe carcinoma. So to summarize, first, RCC is the most common renal malignancy, and the clear cell carcinoma is the most predominant type, and VHL mutation leads to the genetic predisposition, and most common RCC subtypes are the clear cell, papillary, chromophobe, and the classical triad is hematuria, flank pen, and palpable mass. And these RCCs frequently invade the renal veins and metastasize hematogenously, and the prognosis is excellent of chromophobe RCCs. So this is a chart of comprising all the three RCCs together. Can anyone summarize what you have read in case of clear cell carcinomas? Clear cell RCC তে কি থাকে? Important points of clear cell carcinoma? Huh? Most common, right? Next. Next comes the genetics, that is a VHL mutation located in chromosome 3p. তারপরে appearance, morphologic appearance of clear cell carcinoma. How it will appear, color of this clear cell carcinoma. It will be yellow in color due to high lipid content, and on microscopy we will have clear cells. Okay, and these are solitary and unilateral, and this will be associated with VHL syndromes. And next, what are the important points of papillary RCC? It's the second most common cancer after clear cell carcinoma. And how it will look on my grossly? It will have similar yellowish appearance, and on microscopy there will be papillary structures with fibrovascular cores, and it will have psammoma bodies and foamy cytoplasm. And these are often multifocal and bilateral and associated with hereditary papillary RCCs. But in case of it will what is the genetics of papillary carcinomas RCC? Is that will be mutation in MADE gene. Okay, and in case of chromophobe RCC, it is a least common among this, and it will arise from the intercalated disc of the collecting ducts. Okay, and it will have a characteristic plant-like appearance with on grossly that will be tan brown, and on microscopy there will be large granular cytoplasm with perinuclear halos, and this will have a prominent cell membranes, and these are usually solitary and have association with hereditary syndromes like the Barth-Hutch tube syndrome, and these have a excellent prognosis. So this is a clear cell RCC which are arranged in nest and have clear cells, and this is a papillary which are appear as finger-like projections, and these are the chromophobe RCCs which have eosinophilic granular cytoplasm, and these are arranged in solid sheets. Now revise the important things of clear cell carcinoma, that is yellow due to high repeat content, VHL mutation in chromosome 3p deletion. This is highly vascular and has high tendency for renal vein invasion. Next is a papillary, that is the second most common RCC. It has a papillary architecture with foamy macrophages and Samova bodies, and it has MATE mutation and trisomy 7 and 17. And chromophobe RCCs originate from the collecting duct intercollected cells, and it has prominent cell membranes and plant-like appearance. It has multiple chromosomal losses and it's a best prognosis. Now coming to the paraneoplastic syndromes, তাহলে কি কি হলো? এরিথ্রোপয়েটিনের জন্য পলিসাইথেমিয়া, রেনিনের জন্য হাইপারটেনশন, প্যারাথার্মাল রিলেটেড পেপটাইডের জন্য হাইপারক্যালসেমিয়া, আর ACTH এর জন্য কুশিং সিনড্রোম। So the pathogenesis most important is VHL gene mutation, which leads in the chromosome 3p there will be deletion of VHL gene that will lead to failure of HIF degradation, and it will be accumulation of HIF which will lead to increased of transcription factors like BGF, PDGF, TGF alpha. It will lead to angiogenesis, cell proliferation, and ultimately lead to renal cell carcinomas. So coming to the MCQs, the most common malignant tumor of kidney in adults. Last bench. First question one. Most common malignant tumor of the kidney in adults. Option is Wilms tumor, papillary RCC, clear cell RCC, and chromophobe RCC. Which is the most common? Next, most common clear cell RCCs, and clear cell RCC is most strongly associated with mutation of VHL gene. The clear cell RCC most commonly arises from proximal tubular epithelium, and the classical triad of RCCs include all except. So what is the classical triad? Hematuria, flank pain, and abdominal mass, palpable abdominal mass. So dysuria is the answer. And the most common site of RCC metastasis? কি ছিল? most common is the lungs. Okay, we have cannon-bone metastasis. The yellow color of the clear cell RCC is due to lipid and glycogen. This and papillary RCC is associated with MET mutation. Answer B. And the histologic hallmark of papillary RCC is papillary structures with fibrovascular pores. And chromophobe RCC arises from Chromophobe RCCs have interconnected cells of the collecting ducts, but these two arise from the proximal collecting tubules. This renal cell clear cell arises from proximal tubular epithelium. This papillary arises from distal or proximal both, and this chromophobe arises from the intercollected cells of the collecting ducts. Clear? The RCC with the best prognosis is which is the best prognosis among this? The best prognosis is a chromophobe RCC. Okay, and the worst prognosis is clear cell ones and the collecting duct and medullary. Among RCCs, it is a clear cell have the worst prognosis, and the best prognosis is of chromophobe carcinoma. So the perinuclear halo is a character of this is the chromophobe RCC. These are the nucleus with perinuclear halos. Okay. And which benign tumor shows a central stellate scar? Oncocytoma. Angiomyolipoma is associated with tuberous sclerosis. VHL is associated with clear cell RCCs. And this angiomyolipoma is associated with tuberous sclerosis. Renal medullary carcinoma is associated with sickle cell trait. And which paraneoplastic syndrome may occur in RCC? All of the above. And hypercalcemia occurs due to PTH-RP, that is a parathormone related peptide. And deletion of chromosome 3p is characteristic of clear cell RCC. And the gene is called, name of the gene, full form of VHL, von Hippel-Lindau. Some of our bodies are likely to be found in papillary RCC. And polycythemia is due to secretion of erythropoietin. So the most common RCC is a clear cell RCC. Gene mutated in clear cell is a VHL gene, that is on chromosome 3p. Gene mutated in papillary RCC is a MET. Best prognosis is of chromophobe RCCs, and associated with sickle cell trait is a renal medullary carcinoma, RCC with papillary and Samoma bodies is a papillary RCC. Benign tumor with stellate scar is an oncocytoma, and tumor associated with tuberous sclerosis is angiomyolipoma, and the most common metastatic site is the lungs. And we have the classical triad of hematuria, flank pain, and palpable abdominal mass.